I want to start off by asking you if you've ever felt like you've read every article there is about finding your purpose after 50, but you still have no clue what to do next. You've got the list, the ideas, the save Facebook posts, but still no real direction. I've coached lots of women through this exact moment of reinvention, and I've lived it too. So, in this conversation, I'll show you how to stop spinning in exploration mode and start designing your next chapter, one intentional step at a time. I've spent decades helping communities transform, raising over $100 million for causes that matter, guiding and leading organizations and their leaders through major change. And I've also reinvented myself several times along the way. So if you're here, you're probably in that space I know so well, that restless, searching feeling where you know you want something more or need something more meaningful, but you're overwhelmed by options, don't know where to start, and you're overwhelmed by those options instead of taking action. Y'all know that I do and believe in planning and visioning. Okay. But when I was in that particular stuck space, those tools felt overwhelming rather than helpful. That's the truth. What really helped was slowing down, tuning in, and asking the right questions. And here's what that looked like for me and what it can look like for you too. So let's go over some of those steps. First, I had to manage that voice saying, "You should have figured this all out by now." I had to reframe that pressure. It wasn't failure, it was wisdom trying to get my attention. I started seeing my restlessness not as a red flag, but as a signal that it's time to adjust course. Okay. Then I gave myself permission to imagine again, not based on the titles or the job descriptions or other people's expectations, from the inside out. So I stopped and I asked myself several questions. And here are some of them. Now, I got lots of life design questions that I use with my clients. And again, if any of you want to just talk this through with me, please sign up for one of my next steps calls. They're free, 30 minutes. I asked myself several questions. One is, what would I do if I trusted myself a little more? Ah, that's a heavy one. So ask yourself that question. What would you do if you trusted yourself just a little bit more? Okay. Another question, what would feel exciting in my life? We really don't stop to ask ourselves that. Not what would feel good. That's a good question, though, but what would feel good or what I'd like to do, but what would feel exciting in my life? Put that little extra drama, that vibrancy in it. And then one of my favorite questions, what do I want my days to feel like, not just look like? Okay? So again, we're tapping into those feelings. So for me and for the clients that I work with, once we start performing the answer and started trusting what felt right, the fog starts to lift. And so try those questions. Um, and like I said, I have lots of them. These, I consider them these life design questions because they're really framed to have you start reflecting, tuning in, thinking, and giving yourself the opportunity to do what you can do, which is design your own life. Yes, there are challenges out there. Yes, deep, deep losses can happen, job changes, so much stuff can happen external. It's life. But you do have the opportunity to be your own person and to shape and design your life if you do this next thing that I did. And that was give yourself permission to try one small thing. Shortly after I went through all these losses, a friend of mine suggested that I start a talking blog. And in fact, I use Blog Talk Radio. I took my phone and my laptop and I had conversation with people from all across the country. That's how my podcast, Ignite to Impact, began as this talking blog. And every week, I would talk to people about what makes you successful. What are your failures? What are the things that worked for you? Let's talk about confidence. Let's talk about community. All of those things that would ignite us to take action, to help others, to help ourselves, to improve ourselves, to help our community. That's why it was called Ignite to Impact. And I did that. Now, I've never done anything like that before. And I must admit, most of them nights that I was plugging in my little phone and getting ready to have those conversations, I was crying. I was, before I did the podcast and talk to people, and then as I shut everything down, I'd start crying again, sobbing again because of the state that I was in. But I still did it. I took this small step to do something I had never, ever done before. And it sparked something in me. And it became a way to explore and express and eventually build something bigger. It wasn't perfect, but it was in motion. And what happened after that was 100 more podcasts. Then I went into a studio and did it all professional like. And then now I'm here. And so, little tiny thing, that little experiment that I took starting off, you can do the same thing. So, ask yourself, what's one small experiment you could start, you could try this week? And it works. Then finally, a step that I took that I wanted to share with you. I recognized that what I was going through, I really had to find ways to protect my energy, like it was part of this plan, what I was trying to come back, because it is. Change is exhausting. I was burning out trying to be everything to everyone, including trying to take care of myself in this new role. That's when I started saying no with intention. I restructured, I changed my days, the way they looked. I gave myself permission to rest, stop treating clarity like something I had to earn through endless effort. I don't need to earn clarity. I can stop at any time I want to and take a deep breath and get clear with myself and my intentions. I also learned that no is a complete sentence. And so when life hands you something that changes your game entirely, a diagnosis, a divorce, a loss, suddenly all them vision boards and 5-year plans feel irrelevant. You're not just asking what's next, you are asking what's possible now. And that requires a different kind of clarity. So do you understand what I'm saying? This isn't about reinventing yourself completely. It's not doing that. It really is about stepping into, or really finding out, rediscovering, and then stepping into who you really are without all of the second guessing yourself, without all the noise, without letting fear make those decisions. And This is a process. This is something that is very, very critical and can really help and shape your next steps. And this is what intentional life design looks like. Now, I want you to understand the mind shift that you have to have. And that mindset is you don't have to have it all figured out right now. You don't. You just need to start to take a step, designing your life intentionally. And think about this. I'm talking to you high achieving women out there in your 50s and your 60s. And when you built your career 20, 30 years ago, you didn't know every job you'd have or every skill you develop. You started with probably in one position, right? You learned what worked, you worked yourself up, you adjusted what didn't work, and you kept building, right? That's how you built your career. Well, your next chapter and what you need to do as women in your 50s and 60s and 70s, your next chapter works the same way. You need just enough clarity to take that first step and enough flexibility to adjust as you learn what fits. You got it? Your next chapter works the same way. Just enough vision to start building, enough flexibility to adjust. The women I coach who make the biggest transformations, they're not the ones with the clearest vision from the start. Okay. That's the real deal. They're the ones willing to take imperfect action and course correct along the way. So, if what I've been sharing with you today resonates and you're thinking, I want some more, I really need some dedicated time to work this through, I got something special for you. I promised you in the beginning, I tell you. So, on August 14th, at 6 p.m. Eastern on Zoom, I'm hosting a live workshop called Finding Direction After 50. And this is a clarity workshop for women for when you're not sure what comes next. I'm not going to be giving you the quick fixes or surface level inspiration. This is 90 minutes of guided work using aspects of my life by design method, which is the same 4-step process that helped me and hundreds of the clients I've worked with go from stuck to clear. And so we'll create your personal clarity map, and you'll join with other women who understand exactly where you are. The investment is just $47. And you'll find the link in the pinned comments. We have a QR code. But the most important thing that you can take is one step. And that's what I want you to do, whether that's joining the workshop or simply committing to that one small experiment we talked about today. Okay? So, listen, if you're feeling stuck between ideas and action, you're not behind. Remember, you're not broken. You're not too late. You're exactly where you need to be to design what comes next.